said, wait, but there are a couple of stops that we have to make before we go on this journey. And the first one was to meet Tommy and Neil the Bishop. And so that's when I first got to meet Tommy and Nilda, and loved them both immediately.
From there, we all met up in Tennessee at Jim and Ruth Ann's, and we began our journey, our respective journeys to the Great Northwest. Tommy and Nilda ended up here in Missoula, or ended up in Missoula, and then eventually down here. And we ended up in Moscow, and then eventually down to Clarkson. And over the next 40 years of building houses and lives, we saw each other here, there, wherever. But whenever we got together, whenever Tommy was around, he always brought a gift. It was something he found, something he made, always something precious.
Wait a minute. I just found out today that the billow, you know, those things you use for a fire, that he brought and gave us, was made in the business that they had in their teepee here in Victor. Victor. So now we know the history of the billow.
But Tommy was always somebody, he was always giving something of himself. He was always putting out for other people. Over the last several years, Tommy and I have been meeting annually up on the Locksaw for a weekend of just catching up. Fixing gumbo, usually, go ahead.
Do you mind? Nilda will confirm this fact. These two would decide who was bringing what. And most of the time they doubled it because they said, well, you can never have too many shrimp for a gumbo or whatever. And they would go, they would have all of the perfect ingredients for a super good gumbo. And they would come home with a gumbo that had everything that was left. It didn't matter what they ate, whether it was egg or biscuit or whatever. They had everything that was left in this gumbo. And Nilda and I both were like, oh, no, thank you. No. I think we'll pass.
But these trips up on the Locksaw, they were in May, usually in cold, wet, somewhat miserable conditions, rain or snow. Well, catch up we did. We spent hours talking and hours not talking, fueled by coffee, bourbon, and Jasper's beer. I'll remember these weekends not for any momentous event, nothing major happened, but just because they were up on the Locksaw with Tommy. And now we're here, and we're here to remember Tommy. We all have our unique experiences with Tommy, and every one of them will remember Tommy, and every one of them will all remember Tommy as a friend, a kind and caring person.
The kind of person that in your lifetime, you will probably only meet one or two that are as good as T. Bishop.
No one can ever replace Tommy in my life or in Ruthie's life. But for now, I just got to say, adios, my friend. Until we meet again.
Amen.
We're here today to honor and celebrate the life of Tom Bishop. Known to us as Tommy. Tommy's been a close friend of ours for over 40 years. And he and Nilda were the first friends we made in the Bitterroot Valley the year we all moved here in 1976. At that time, Tommy had this thick Southern accent from Alabama. We always enjoyed this drawn-out storytelling around campfires. Many of my Tommy memories center around music and water. Tommy played several instruments, and many of our campfires included singing songs together. Some songs were gospel, like I'll Fly Away, but some were popular ones, like Country Road, Take Me Home. Tom and I have many treasured memories of our times together at the rivers, from snagging salmon up in Glacier to fishing the Bitterroot and floating the Bitterroot and floating the Smith River together, our families. All these will bring back fond memories of all the fun we had.
Thank you all for coming. Bobby told the story about them camping. On one of those camp trips, he came home, and I happened to be at the house when he came home, and he was drenched, looked like a wet rat. And I said, Tommy, what happened? He said, well, I forgot. Now, this is camping in the Idaho rainforest during the rainy season. I forgot my tent and sleeping bag. I mean, pack of smokes, case of beer, right after that. I did not go through your list at least 4 deep, but he cherished his time with you, Bobby. Tommy Bishop gave everyone the time of day, no matter their station in life. He looked, he listened, he cared. That is to say, Tommy took his job of being a human being very seriously, and with a sense of humor and fun. Tommy and I developed our friendship trying to coax old cars and chainsaws and water faucets and about anything mechanical back to life. We figured we had more brains than money, being college graduates, which wasn't saying much since we were broke most of the time. We got old cars starting up after a long winter stuck in snowdrifts, and at other times we would work long and hard on a perfectly running engine until it wouldn't run anymore. We did things together. We talked. That's when we got to know each other, doing things together. We would cut down trees that didn't need cut down, build things that didn't need built. We were doing things. We would sit on a bar stool or around a campfire and talk all about the incredible adventures we would go on, adventures most people would only dream about. We not only dreamed about them, but we actually talked about them. We were going to float from Fort Benton, build a raft, solar powered of course, and float from Fort Benton to St. Louis during Lewis and Clark bicentennial. So we'd always be looking for 55-gallon drums to build pontoons to build a raft on. We talked about that. We had plans. He was both spiritual and human. For example, he believed his body was the temple of God, but also thought God liked to party in his temper sometimes. So he was not negligent in his duty to enjoy his God-given life. As John Steinbeck wrote about one of his characters, and it fits with Tommy, he didn't have the greatest faith in the world, but at least it was permanent. Tommy had permanent faith all throughout the time I knew him. He had faith. Mother Teresa once said when asked how she dealt with the poverty in Calcutta and working with the poor children, she said, when I look into their eyes, I see God looking back at me. And how can I turn from God? Now, Tommy was no Mother Teresa. I'll tell you that. But he had that quality. He had that connection to oneness. We all are part of what Bobby talked about in Ruthie. To Tommy, the world was his family, all the good and all the bad. Now, Anna mentioned that we met Tommy and Nilda over 40 years ago. I remember our first Thanksgiving with him. It was in Missoula, and we'd spent actually the next 40 Thanksgivings together. It was in Missoula. We hadn't known him that long. It was the first time we met him a few months before. And we arrived in Missoula at their place, and I went over to Tommy and asked, well, who's all coming to dinner? And knowing they probably had a lot of friends, since they were so fun-loving, everyone liked Tommy and Nilda at the party. They told jokes, they sang songs, just great people to have around. And he would put his finger to his chin like he did when he had to think, had to consider. He said, who's coming to dinner? I think his name is John. Yeah, John, that's it. I met him outside the Safeway, the parking lot next to the dumpster. We got to talking. We didn't have any plans for Thanksgiving, so yeah, his name is John. Now, a little backstory before I finish this story. Ann and I were from a small Midwestern town in Ohio. Our Thanksgivings looked like Norman Rockwell paintings. Ann even had a dog in her painting. We'd gone to college in the late 60s, early 70s, so we knew about drunks, but not homeless ones. Brett Kavanaugh type. Back to the party. I asked Tommy, anyone else coming? Anyone else coming? Tommy again put his finger to his chin, and he said, I think his name is Bill. I said, oh, come on. Come on, you think his name is Bill? And I thought about going outside and see if Poverello Center was about to go. Well, I was down at the Oxford Bar in Missoula, he said. Last Friday, he got to talking with this guy next to me at the bar. A lot of comedy stories started that way. Seems his wife ran out on him and took his hunting dog with her, so I felt bad, and so I invited him to Thanksgiving. So that Thanksgiving, that first Thanksgiving, Ann and I had a great Thanksgiving dinner with our new friends, Tommy and Milda, and 2 homeless drunks from the streets of Missoula. Quite unique from where we came. Now, Tommy never lied to get ahead or to make money. He was a pretty honest guy. But he would stretch the truth to make a story sound better. And in that spirit, I take that same liberty with you about this Thanksgiving dinner, too. But it wasn't far off. The sentiment was for sure accurate. And the gestalt of the event, Tommy being who he was spot on. In closing, if Tommy would want us to take away something from his time with us, like Carmen mentioned, the legacy piece, I would think would be this. Give people the time of day. Cut folks some slack. Slow down just a bit and just listen and be here now. Thanks for coming.
We are Rita and Ken Steele. I'm Milda's sister. We've known Tom for over 40 years. We first met them in Biolatry, Alabama, where he and Milda taught at a small Catholic school right out of college. Ken was a young Army officer, and we were expecting our first child. Just a couple of years later, we were living in Colorado, and Tom and Milda had settled in Victor. We would drive up to see them with our son participating in Easter egg hunts in Victor Park. He was about 2. And Ken and I going camping and hiking with Tom and Milda. Over time, both families grew and grew up together. Our children are near the same age.
Our families spent vacations together and used vacation time to work on each other's houses. Tom came to Minnesota to help me out of the downstairs bathroom and to help discuss things with the building permit inspector. Tom and I would pay each other with special hikes or side trips, but on that trip, I was unable to score tickets for Prairie Home Companion. So instead, we took our families to the Wisconsin Dells, making several U-turns along the way to pick up Blue Bear, baby blankets, and various toys that had been dropped or pitched from the van windows. You see our 2 families together now have 6 children, under the age of 7.
During our earliest visits with Tom and Nilda here in Montana, before all those children, he was working with mentally disabled adults in a group home. We admired his patience, compassion, and skill as he taught life skills as well as livelihood skills. I think that it was also during this time that we benefited from Tom's various side businesses, such as making fireplace bellows and modern wooden desk clocks. However, the Tom craft that we really admired was the seesaws we received. The first one for our twins, and just in time for Christmas pictures. And the next, 30 years later, for our twin grandsons.
Later, Tom constructed his own log home. It was the home that he was to peacefully die in. I helped a little bit in its building, as did our father-in-law. However, Tom's friends here in the Bitterroot really did the helping. And he helped several of those friends, you friends, build their homes as well. Rita and I noted that they were building solid homes and solid friendships. From these friends, we learned of the integrity shown in Tom's workmanship, of his respect and treatment of people and the environment, and of his concern and efforts in bettering his community.
Friendships developed between our children and Nilda and Tom's. In their youth, they hiked and attended county fairs together, where the Bishop children always had 4-H projects. We visited more frequently, while our oldest son, Paul, attended college in Billings. Paul often spent school holidays, Thanksgiving of course, at Tom and Nilda's home. Our youngest son, Sky, also developed many friendships in the Bitterroot during his family trips. After graduating from college in New York, he has made several extended visits to Tom and Nilda's home. Here he found the support and solitude he needed for composing his music. Tom was devoted to both his immediate and extended families. There are now 8 grandchildren in our 2 families. We share stories and brag of the fun with grandkids, their scouts, music lessons, athletic skills, and other adventures. We still all get together for significant family events, weddings, 90th birthdays, and memorials. During these events, we always make time for some special family adventure, like a visit to Gettysburg or a day hike. Tom's love and devotion to family is inspirational.
A few years ago, I stayed about 4 weeks with Tom and Nilda to work with Tom in his solar business. Tom insisted on making my morning coffee and a sack lunch. I rode to work daily with Tom and his dog Rosie. I witnessed the rapport, the trust, and the confidence that Tom's customers saw in him. I saw the integrity and honesty with which he conducted his business. I've especially admired Tom's spiritual growth and his love of God and his church. Rita and I came to look forward to participating with Tom and Nilda in their morning daily devotionals during our most recent visits. We will always remember Tommy for his friendship, his ingenuity, and his devotion to family, his friends, and to God.
for 40 years. We knew him from